All right, we here. Another week, another dollar, another opportunity. RSG one mic. We're in the building. This one's going to be interesting because we're going to have a little bit more. We're going to be about basketball today. There's a lot to talk about in the world of basketball, and so we're going to spend some time today getting into the basketball. And we're going to figure out who should be on the logo. That's one thing we're going to get into. We're going to talk a little bit March Madness. And we're going to get into a little bit of it's like mid-year review with the NBA. So I feel like we just need to bundle, since we in March Madness, we need to bundle it all up and talk some basketball today and kind of work through it and have some fun with it. But, I always want to encourage you to go to realsportsguys.com and check out all things Real Sports Guys. You can look at Real Sports Guys, catch us all on all our social media platforms, our Real Sports Guys. You can catch Darnell and Carl and Hank. We still trying to get him up to Twitter, but we'll get all that social media gang going. But when you come out, especially with Hammer and Darnell, don't come weak though. Them cats will embarrass you on them social media platforms. So you're gonna come with respect. But let me bring in my co-host for the new folks and reintroduce them to the old folks. We're gonna come in with our man. We call him our general counsel up in here, because if stuff go down, he is really a lawyer. He's there. I can come to him for legal advice, and he will tell you if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Our man, Carl Hampton, the Hammer. How you doing, brother? Looking good, man. You look like the board, like you're ready. I look like I need to go put my clothes on so we can do it right, man. You keep me thinking.
Bro, just making that money, man, and working hard for the people. I left the office at 7 o'clock. So, but want to check in with my guys. I'm gonna be with my guys, but I gotta do my work.
Well, we always know you've been in that public service. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. So, but thank you very much. Look forward to chopping it up. So yeah. So.
Yeah, life in public service. That's what makes us Real Sports Guys over here on the RSG. We got real day hustle that we're involved in, and we love it. And we're all committed to things as well. We got the youngin who kind of beginning out his career, trying to find his way. That's why we like this cross-generational thing going on. He got a lot going on, like most young folks in that. He must be in that millennial Gen Z framework he got going on.
I'm a millennial. I'm the tail end of it, but I'm still a millennial.
Yeah, I know you. I thought you had your toe over in that Gen Z. But go ahead, brother. How you doing? How's it going, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Like I always say, I can't complain. This is another day above ground, man.
That's right. That's right. We are truly blessed up in here. And then we got the man, he working, but he don't have to work, because that's what happens with retirement. When you earn it right, you can choose how you want to spend that post. He's the arc. He's the one we look and say, okay, this is what we can do when we want to do it. So he kind of mix and match his life the way he wants to. That's why we let him drop the mic, because he's that guy that is kind of like the old head in the group. Our man, Hank Davis. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Let's give a shout out for the baby boomers out there. Well, y'all talking all that stuff, all right? These millennials and Gen Xers. Some of us around here still kicking it hard.
Yeah.
Okay, we got that grown man strength. Y'all need to learn about that coming up, So doing good, feeling good. Glad to be out here with you guys tonight.
Yeah, I was watching. One night in Miami, and I thought you was gonna walk in the hotel room when Balfour. I was like, "Is that Hank? That Hank at the liquor store coming out with Sam Cooke?"
Yeah, see. Back then, you can get you a fifth of liquor at age 17, and drink that with your breakfast of chipped beef and toast.
Yeah, you could go to the store with a note from your parents and get a pint. Because that's
right.
How the game got down. That's
how it went.
Nothing about that. You could go with a note, and they would hand it to you, and they knew it would get home because they know that you would come back with some welts on you if it didn't make it all the way to the house.
You ain't lying.
It was a different time. There was also cats wasn't wearing seatbelts. You look around like, aren't we supposed to be wearing seatbelts?
Man, we would ride around on the armrest in the front seat. Okay. Let's get real. Let's get real. with the ashtray in the front. Okay, that's the way we went down. Okay, we would ride in the back of the pickup truck on the highway. Okay,
That's right.
okay. If it was too windy, just lay down. We're gonna be there in a minute.
That's right. That's right. It's the day, I don't know if youngins do it, it's the day when you actually was doing something called bumper skiing, where a car would come by and you would grab their bumper and ski. I don't know why we thought that was cool, but your car could have stopped. There's about 9,000 ways we could have died on that, but it was fun to do it nonetheless. Somebody talked to you, and there's a lot of good stuff that was there. It's the kind of stuff that hardened and sharpened you.
Hey, y'all call us crazy. No. Oh, man.
That's an intergenerational stuff. So for you new folks to the show, we got a couple segments. We usually have an open mic where we just kind of toss an issue out there, and then we get into the cipher a little bit where we'll dig deeper into some things. And then, the way we were, we just talked about this in Black History Month, but there's traditions in here where, where you give the oldest in the group the last word as we drop the mic, and that's what Hank is going to do that. Because if you didn't, you would get hit with a shoe. So we knew there's some things that were just ingrained in us that are just part of this design of this show that we have. And so we always like to let new folks know how it's going to go down as well. So Kyrie, my man Kyrie, I'm trying to work out my relationship with Kyrie. And because there's sometimes he says stuff and does stuff, and I'm like, other time he says stuff, I'm just like, way to go, young brother. But then, but he is sparking conversation nonetheless. And he, at this time when we're all reflecting on the life of Kobe Bryant, suggested that, Kobe should be the new logo. And, for those who don't know in terms of we got Hampton coming back here, beaming back in, changing positions on us over there. Jerry West is the logo, right? Another Laker. And so they asked Jerry West. I think Jerry was really open to it. But part of what Kobe was saying in a league that is predominantly Black, the logo should be reflected that. So, I mean, everybody was co-signing, including, Vanessa, the wife. But then, a couple cats came out, was like, whoa, wait, before we do the logo thing. There's some other people we need to be thinking about as well with the logo. Bill Russell, Michael Jordan coming. There's some other folks that should be in this logo conversation. So I want to open it up with that first before we dip into some other leagues that might, if we were having a logo conversation, who would we think should be the logo in that, whatever, some other leagues outside basketball. But let me start with you, youngin, since I like to start with your perspective so then they can yell at you. When you heard that, what was your perspective? And what was your perspective when you heard that being suggested?
Well, to me, I feel, not to be insensitive, but I feel like it's a knee-jerk reaction, man. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with the logo, to be honest with you. Yeah. I know Jerry West, he always said he never wanted to be the logo. He never wanted to be the logo of the league. That was not his idea. But death is just as life is. It's a cycle. Everybody's going to die one day, man. It's a sad thing to say, but everybody's going to die one day. So what happens when Mike, God forbid, hopefully he lives a long life, but when that day comes, when Mike passed, are we going to change the logo to Mike? Because if it's anybody, it should be Mike. Or
change the logo to Mike anyway, right now.
In my opinion, the logo should be Bill Russell. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have a brand. So if I were to change the logo to Bill Russell, what would I change the logo to? That's a sticking point there. But I think the logo is fine. There's nothing wrong with the logo. Who looks at the NBA logo and just like, man, I think this needs to change. I mean, nobody watches basketball for a logo anyways. I think this is just like, it's something that's really doesn't matter. It's a nice gesture to say, okay, yeah, Kobe, he should be the NBA logo. But for the most part, I think that's just an emotional response.
Good points. I see Hammer want to weigh in.
Yeah, I mean, MJ should be the logo right now and should be forever. So plain and simple, he's the most iconic figure in the game. Nobody's lining up in 2021 before the pandemic or 2020 for Jerry West shoes. They're lining up for Michael Jordan shoes. So, again, this is like Darnell says, a knee-jerk reaction. We all are saddened by Kobe's passing, tragic passing. But the bottom line is that Kobe's not the low. And what we're gonna have, like his silhouette, or there's time he had an afro, or what we're gonna do for Kobe. So we know the Jordan brand, we know the Jordan logo, and so it's an emotional conversation for people who obviously, like myself, are Kobe died too soon. Kobe died tragically. But let's be real. If you have a logo, Jerry West logo should have been gone because people can't even name who he is, especially young people like Darnell. So that's a joke from the first place.
I got to interject with this. With the logo of the sport, are any other logos recognizable? Could you tell me who is the logo of the MLB?
There's not a logo of the MLB.
Yes, it is. I mean, you have the picture of the dude with the helmet.
You just got a guy,
but no one knows who it's a Jerry. But that shouldn't be. It should be Willie Mays.
Do you know how old I was when I figured out who was the logo of the NBA? It's not like I just started watching. It's not like I just started watching basketball. I'm like, oh, that's Jerry West. The logo is supposed to just be a regular basketball player. I mean, it's not supposed to be like, oh yeah, it's Michael Jordan. No.
Yeah, but what I would say that even though we didn't know it was Jerry West, it was something about that logo that said it was the NBA. Like, I'm with you. Before I even knew that, okay, that's Jerry West. That logo was the NBA. Like, it said NBA. Like, if you put it anywhere.
Not for me.
Logo.
I mean,
you didn't know
who it was,
but it was something.
I looked at.
Huh?
I was wondering who the logo was.
Yeah,
I saw it was a white guy.
I did, but I didn't quite know. I just knew it was NBA.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the point.
When I found it out, I was like, "Wow, okay." Jerry West was the one. Yeah,
who won one title, right? He won one title as a player.
Yeah, right? And I thought about that, but I was like, I was going to NBA logo without knowing it was Jerry West. All right, we bring Hank in.
I think that's the point, though. That's the logo. Let me bring Hank with the league. It's not supposed to be one face.
Yeah, which I thought it was okay with that because it seemed to be something that didn't until we kind of found it out. It just seemed like it was just this ball player in terms of its brand. It didn't really mean as much in the way that we talk about it now. Hank, you've been around long enough. You watched the ABA logo.
That's right. Listen, the thing is about the logo is with the NBA's logo is unique only because it is a player. It was a player that was playing at the time the logo was actually made. So that's the only thing that makes it really unique versus the other sports that you have, which is the Major League Baseball player logo is pretty much a generic logo with a player staring at a ball that's too close and his bat's on his shoulder. You have the NFL shield and you have the logo for the NHL. None of which, are actual players or anything. They're just actual logos or symbols. The one thing that the NBA finds unique is the fact that they said that they made that logo silhouetted out of a player. And so it's been, a topic of conversation if they change the logo, who the next player should be. Now, I'm not one to agree with it being Michael Jordan or anybody like that because, to me, the logo should epitomize what the league is. Okay. Not how many championships or shoes you wear. I truly believe it should just epitomize what the league is all about. If you're going to change a logo to do that, then what are you using as the criteria? Okay, and I agree with Darnell. You can't be knee-jerk because a player passes away or anything like that. If you were to ask me what player do I think this should be on the NBA logo, I would say Michael. I wouldn't say Michael Jordan at all. I'd say Julius Erving. Julius Erving both epitomizes the NBA and the ABA. Okay, somebody like that, somebody that tells you about your future as well as your past, where you came from. Not so much about, because you're going to have great players in the league all around. But and Jerry West, what he was doing and how he looked in that logo epitomized what the NBA was at the time. If you want to say the logo was outdated, fine. But then there's also some tradition to that. Okay, and one thing about all the logos, you can't say the NFL logo is outdated. The shield represents the NFL. The MLB baseball represents, and that's what the NBA logo stands for. The only thing about it, again, what even makes it a topic of conversation versus the other ones is the fact that it was an actual player in that logo. But you can go up and down. It becomes just like it's going to become here. It becomes an argument of what the player has done and all this sort of kind of stuff, and then that just takes it away. Or is it a black player? Is it a white player? It's supposed to be really a generic player. And if I'm the NBA, and if you ever got down to changing the logo, I go generic, just like the NFL, the NBA, and anybody else. I wouldn't even get into that argument.
And Julie should get it on the Fish to Sage Pittsburgh anyway. Just on that point, he should get it on that, because that was a legendary movie that put it in. One of the interesting suggestions that somebody said on here, and I wanted to give credit, but I thought it was just an interesting suggestion, was having a suite of core people that I think a lot of folks could agree on, and players could choose which logo. So you could have Bill Russell, Kobe, Mike, or whatever you might want to do, and you get to choose what that might be on your jersey. That feels NBA like anyway. But I kind of like, Hank, what you're saying is maybe find something that has nothing to do with a player, and it represents what the NBA is all about. I want to switch this in the logo. Like, so if it were other sports, I know y'all watch a lot of other sports. Who would y'all, if it was a player that needed to be the logo, or whoever the participant is in that sport, who would you say should be the logo?
Tom Brady in NFL, no question.
See, I would say Tom Brady in NFL. That would be, I would debate that now. I wouldn't just give it to Tom, but I'll let y'all.
Who would you give it to?
Huh?
Who would you give it to?
I might have someone like a Jim Brown.
Jim Brown is arguable, yeah. Jim Brown is arguable, but I just think that the problem is that a logo is supposed to be also a marketing tool as well. So, yeah. I mean, I would, before Brady came on the board, came on the scene, definitely thought Jim Brown was the best NFL player ever until Brady. I think he's number 2, but I think with Brady's just, is transcendent, winning right now. I just think he's the face of NFL football forever.
Yeah, I mean, you're making a big case. I knew Brady would come up, and I would say, okay, here's somebody else. I would say, but you probably get a lot of support for Brady. Hank, if you had a sport, that your baseball or whatever, who's your sport where there's a clear person who should be the logo?
Oh, very simple. Baseball, the logo would be Jackie Robinson. Plain and simple. I mean, you have to go back to what transcends the sport. I think Jackie Robinson would be that for baseball. And if it wasn't Jackie Robinson, it would have to be Hank Aaron or Babe Ruth. It would have to be somebody like that. I just believe that your logo has to bring in your traditions, okay, of the past and the future. And with baseball, it would have to be where baseball changed, okay. And what one player changed baseball, the whole picture of baseball, but Jackie Robinson. Okay, and so to me, that's what that would go there. If I'm looking at football, that would be tough. The reason why football would be tough is because I wouldn't pick a player to be a logo. I would pick a coach. I'd pick somebody like George Halas. I'd pick somebody like Vince Lombardi. Somebody again, or even an Al Davis. So somebody crazy like that. Somebody that changed what the sport did, because football has changed so much. That and players have. You've got players that didn't even play a long time that would make a sweet logo. You couldn't tell me that a Walter Payton or a Barry Sanders logo wouldn't be one of the sweetest logos you've ever seen in the sport. You couldn't tell me it wouldn't be the baddest logos you've ever seen, because those logos would be that you could do so much just graphically with what those players did on the field. You know, those would be some sweet looking logos.
Yeah, and I in sport, if I was going to take Serena Williams and women's tennis would be, if they were local there, it would be Serena. Now you got to question out, is it Serena in the cat suit? What is it? But Serena would be that person. She would epitomize.
She could be a logo without it being tennis. If you ask me.
Yeah, she would just be a logo. You know, I'm just going to say, but Serena one that came to mind. When I heard it, like Serena hands down. Now people might have, Chris Everett online now. Serena hands down.
She could be a logo for dog food.
Compton's most wanted. We love it. All right, Darnell, bring the youngest perspective in.
I was going to say Ali for boxing, even though there's
Ali for boxing, no question about that.
Ali, but if I was going football, like of course, my answer was Jim Brown, like I said earlier. But if we're talking about like doing like a graphically, like Hank was saying, I'll go LaDainian Tomlinson with his end zone celebration. But,
you got Ray Lewis. Ray
Lewis too.
You go Ray Lewis. It's like, so you should have just said Iverson for basketball. Then you would have been all generational on that. All right, Tiger for golf, or is it Jack for golf?
Jack for golf.
Well, no. Well, it depends. Well, Jack is part of the GOAT, but Tiger. Like you said, the imaging. If we're making the logo, it has to be Tiger doing his little, his little.
Oh yeah, that's that right there. It is. There you go. Youngins are doing that, and he much like
Kobe did it.
Took it global. Yeah, like they out there. He got the accident. They out there wearing his gear as a tribute. They wearing his colors. The dog is wearing. That tells you what Tiger is in the game right now. So that would. If we were talking a pool, I would say Minnesota Fats. If we was trying to get in there, is it what's my guy? Is it Mark Spitz in swimming, or is it
swimming?
Yeah, what is it?
Michael Phelps.
You think it's Michael Phelps? Mark
because
Spitz was changed game.
Early
Ryan Lochte at the gas station? No.
It's Michael Phelps, yeah. It's Usain Bolt in track.
Oh, I don't know. That track one a little bit. No, there's a lot of Michael Johnson. You got
Ben Johnson, Mike. No.
The sprinter.
You got Carl Lewis. You got Carl Lewis.
The 100 sprinter is the most transcendent event. So
that's Carl Lewis. Plus he did the 200 in the relay and the long jump. Like, you talking about representing all of what sports is. You got field events, and you talking about sprints, and you got Carl Lewis, man. I know people get like Carl was the 100 and the 200. What he?
Yeah, I know Carl. Yeah,
and the relay and he did the long jump. But you talk about he hit you in the head with a whole bunch of stuff.
I would say both because if you show his figure, he's just dominant. I mean, 6'4", 6'5".
His pose is marketable. I agree with you. Like,
yeah.
He had a staple pose that you would know it was him. I give you that. But I'm like, man, if anybody watched Carl Lewis and what he was doing.
Carl was great, and sadly, Carl had to run against Mr. Steroids, but lose badly until they took the medal away from him. That's the only thing really tarnishes it. I hate the fact that Ben Johnson, ruined the game with his steroids, like Barry Bonds and these other cheaters in baseball who won't be in Hall of Fame. So, what'd you say?
I said we're gonna have to mute your mic whenever you talk about Barry Bonds.
I know you're taking us to another topic.
You might as well put closed caption on when Barry Bonds said Barry Bonds said something negative. So yeah, put closed caption on.
Closed caption.
Put closed caption on, but I'm not going to defend Barry Bonds and play it simple.
So he clearly would not be the logo.
At the Hall of Fame, yeah.
He clearly would not be the logo. All right, we're gonna continue with this. We're gonna continue down this basketball thing.
Barry Bonds should be the logo of baseball.
No, March Madness. We're gonna go to March Madness.
Yeah, of steroid use. That's what it be. Of anabolic steroids and cheating. Yeah.
We just watched. All of us got a good connection. We just watched Illinois going in and shellac Michigan, number 2 in the country, for their second loss. But it just reminds us March Madness is around the corner. And last year, we were impacted. I mean, I was at the women's Big Ten basketball tournament, preparing to see the NCAA tournament. Just the whole idea, we're getting ready for those brackets, things, and then the world shut down on us. And so obviously now we're going to get back into it, and, nothing's better than the, one shining moment at the end. Like, I watch it for that closing moment where it just takes us in a reflection of those moments. And so, I mean, we're all avid basketball fans and, been in pools and doing all that stuff with March Madness. As we're preparing, like reflecting a little bit, what are some of the moments you remember about March Madness that gets you excited when you think about moments with March Madness? I'll start with you, Carl.
Definitely the Grant Hill Leitner pass and shot. Yeah. That's just, it was a baseball pass that had to be perfectly done. The way Leitner turned around, shot the ball, just amazing. So, despite the fact I've never been a Duke fan, I just have to say that was the most well-designed play, executed play in NCAA history, definitely. So.
And poorly defended by Kentucky, but we'll talk about that. But it was a great play, great execution.
True.
Had a feeling he was going to make it as soon as he got it.
They didn't want to foul Leitner, so hey, what can I say?
Yeah, that was it. Darnell, we go to Darnell and Hank. Moments.
Yeah, we're talking about a game. I'm taking Michigan State beating Zion when Cassius Winston carried the team to the Final Four. And if I'm talking about a play, I'm talking about I think it was the Elite Eight. It was Kentucky when they played against Notre Dame back my freshman year in college, 2015. When that was the Karl Anthony Towns Kentucky team that went undefeated for like a long period of time. They lost one game in the regular season, I believe. But Willie Cauley-Stein, he guarded Jeremy Grant's little brother. He was a point guard for Notre Dame back then. He full court pressed him. And he carried him all 94 feet and contested the game-winning, the game-winning attempt that missed. But it was a crazy display of just having superhuman athleticism. His lateral quickness is ridiculous for a big. I remember at the time thinking like, this guy's going to be like Kevin Garnett or something defensively. Like, this dude just like ran with the guard all the way down the court and heavily contested his shot as time expired in the clutch with the Final Four on the line, right? That was my number one play as far as a memory. But yeah, that's me.
All right, Hank.
See, I got to bring some history to this thing, okay? We talking about Karl Anthony Towns and that sort of stuff. Let me tell you something. The finest team that never won a championship, Phi Slamma Jamma. Okay, the game they played against Louisville before they got to the championship and played, they got upset by NC State Jim Valvano's don't give up, don't never give up team. That was one of the finest basketball games I had ever seen. They was coming up and down the floor, and they had to replace both rims at halftime. They were slamming so down hard, and the Louisville team that year, extremely talented. And it was that should have been the championship game, but it ended up being, again, Jim Valvano. It was the major upset of Phi Slamma Jamma. That's that Houston team that had Clyde Drexler on it. It had Akeem Olajuwon on it. That team had some stars. I think 4 players on that team made pro. But you had 2 Hall of Famers on that team. They never won a championship. But by far, my greatest moment in watching the tournament. There's no greater moment than when you're watching the Final Four or you're watching the championship game and you got a personal relationship with the guys that's about to win the championship. 1989 will always be my favorite year. That was the year that Michigan won the national championship over Seton Hall in overtime. The fun thing about that, and I've told this story before, but every time we get to this time of the year, I get a little bit of a chill down my back because I had a personal relationship with several guys on that team. We talked to one, interviewed one, Sean Higgins, but Glenn Rice and all of those guys went down and won the national championship, and we went nuts downtown Ann Arbor in a driving rainstorm. We out there in the middle of State Street and losing our minds. There's no greater feeling than when March Madness actually comes home and you win it all.
Yeah, I would say like one recent moment was Chris Jenkins. I'm gonna walk up, hit you like I'm at the park. Victory over North Carolina. That was a great game altogether. But when I think about that moment, what you just said, Hank, and for me, I had guys on both teams. I mean, at least in the Final Four, when I think about what the Illinois run and share that with
PJ and those guys. Yeah,
chance to see the interview with one of my good friends, PJ Bowman, who was on that Illinois team, room with Steve Bartle, and being with them. That's why tonight's game was so crazy. Being with them the night before they played Michigan for that final game of the season. Kendall Gill was coming back. First going to hang out and seeing Michigan get kicked out of practice by Steve Fisher, and then going to hang out with the Illinois players. And they were hanging out.
Yeah, they were
really hanging out before that night before. Probably more so you think. And
a lot more.
and then going to the game the next day, sitting with PJ's father, but sitting in Chrysler Arena across the street from where I went to high school. It was just a weird mix watching that game and then watching both those teams on that run, and then seeing Glenn, who had been pissed off since that summer where he was in the Olympic trials and they had them playing like 5 in 4 position guard and nothing but centers, really kind of setting him up so he wasn't on the team. So he had a chip on his shoulder, and watching him just go off in ways that we all know. That one for me, just from a memory standpoint, was great. But the one that just got me, and it also had a Michigan story to it, and had some aftermath, was the Villanova team that with Massimino and all those guys who upset Georgetown, but they upset a number of number one teams, including Michigan was a top seed. They beat them early they
beat them in the second round.
Second round, man, and Michigan had a good team that year, top rated team. And just watching them, Don McClain and all those cats make that run. And you're just like, and I love Massimino, one of the big characters of college basketball. Massimino was just a character. Shirt was all over, tie was all over the place. And watching those kids play, that was some great moments. And we're looking forward to having some great moments here coming up. That's the thing about it. And it's, given that we've been going through a pandemic, the opportunity to be able to spend and see, March Madness go as well. And, I'm a big fan of the women's game. So watching the women go, I'm going to try and catch some of that as well. So I'm looking forward to just watching all those games and being there. All right, we're going to get into the Cypher. NBA season's kind of at the mid-season as much as we can talk about it. All-Star break, they push it back. I'm going to say this. If there's any event you can ever go to in sports, if you ever get a chance, I'm telling you all out there, if you have a chance, get to an NBA All-Star weekend. There's nothing like it in sports. People could talk a lot about it, but if you can fully experience an NBA All-Star weekend, and I had the experience and never had to go to the game, never got to go any, but just to be around that experience, everybody descends on the city where the NBA All-Star weekend is happening. It'll be a little bit different this year, but it's one of my favorite times of the year. But it also kind of gives us an opportunity to look at the first half, or at least what is about the first half of the season. So I just want to get a chance to kind of just get y'all to think about, what did y'all learn in the first half of the season? I'll start with you, Darnell, and then go to Carl. What's some things that you learned as you watched these teams in the first half? What kind of peaked out for you?
Well, some teams, they seem like they stumbled out the gate. Like some teams are on the bubble, like say like the Nuggets or something like that. You can see how the quick turnaround time kind of affected some teams. And then you saw a team like Utah, they really came out guns blazing. You saw Mike Conley, he stepped into his role. Donovan Mitchell was able to kind of keep things going like he was playing in the bubble. He was playing great in the playoffs. Rudy Gobert, he's still himself. But Utah as a team, they're shooting a lot of threes. They're making a lot of them. I don't know if that's going to last necessarily, but they're looking a lot like that 2013, 2014 Spurs teams that made the finals. So they're really good. One thing I learned also is that it's not really new, but you can't just throw all these names together like especially older guys like the Houston team, man. The Houston team is very disappointing. I think they lost like 10, 12 straight, something like that. DeMarcus Cousins is off the team now. I thought him and John Wall would have a little something, especially with their chemistry. They played together in college. They like each other. Sometimes they play in the off season. But yeah, they really fell apart. But the rookies. I mean, this is kind of a wide question, so I don't know exactly what direction I should go with this. But you got the rookies. You got LaMelo's been playing great.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
He's been balling as of late. You got Anthony Edwards that give us flashes, but he'll give you a highlighted game. But if you look at the game, it's like, oh, he's not there yet. He'll give you a couple of highlights, but at the end of the day, he's 2 for 15. He's like, what in the world is going on? But yeah, you got some guys that like Wiseman. You seen like Wiseman being mentored by the older guys. He's not necessarily. He doesn't have the same leeway. He doesn't have the same range that LaMelo has. He'll play for a little bit, but when he messes up, Steve Kerr got the quick hook for him. But yeah, I'm gonna let some of y'all talk because I feel like
well, you got us warmed up, man. Thank you for getting us warmed up. You got that stuff greased up a little bit. Was I supposed to go to Hampton next? Was I going to next? Yeah. Hampton, what you got, man? What'd you learn?
Oh, I learned the fraud of the Milwaukee Bucks. That's what I learned. The most fraudulent. I mean, yeah, because it's a team that was supposed to be.
Don't you got to go to Milwaukee? You got friends in Milwaukee.
I do, but I mean, they can say it too. I mean, they're calling for Bud's head right now. All people calling for Bud's head. They want Bud to get fired. They're calling for Darvin Ham to become the coach. I'm like, Darvin Ham's part of the problem. So that don't make no sense. I mean, but the Bucks just, I mean, there's all this hype in the season. Drew Holiday, and they thought they got Bogdanovich. They didn't. I know they brought Brent Forbes and all these people in, Augustine, and they traded more offense, and they hurt the team defense. Defense is really the reason why the Bucks were playing well. They're not shooting well. They're scoring, but they're not shooting well, and that's part of the problem. Is that?
But then they just win like 5 straight, though.
They won 5 straight. I'm talking about the game of the season, bro. I mean, this is
okay.
I'm still saying
this is also part of the first half.
Supposed to be 5 games. It's supposed to be the team. They're supposed to be. Y'all supposed to be the man with the supermax contract. The team's supposed to be humming, and they miss Wesley Matthews. They miss George Hill. They got rid of some people. They made some bad moves all season, and they hoodwinked a lot of people, especially in my home state. And so I feel bad because, like I said, they talk about Giannis, but Giannis, whatever you want to call him. But the bottom line is that. They're not. I mean, barely got by. New Orleans. So yeah. So I'm not. Like I said, I'm very disappointed in the Milwaukee Bucks. But they're not my most disappointing team. I'll put it that way. I mean, like you said, they had won 5 in a row, but they should have been out the gate jumping. But it's not the case.
All right.
Hey, wait a minute. I got one thing to add to that. You said Milwaukee is not shooting well. Do you know that Milwaukee Bucks are the number 4th team in 3-point percentage made right now?
You always look at statistics. You don't look at context. It's context. I'm saying you're telling me that Giannis Antetokounmpo. Other guys are shooting well, yeah, but key is Giannis Antetokounmpo is your number one option. You telling me you want Giannis Antetokounmpo to be shooting a jump shot or a jump shot or a free throw during prime time? If you telling me that, then you don't know basketball. Yeah, other cats are shooting. Yeah, I told you other cats are shooting. I told you I didn't deny that, but I said that still the man who's shooting, you can laugh all you want to. Who are people watching the Bucks for? They watching for Chris Middleton. They watching for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm telling you, look at his line. His line, besides Giannis Antetokounmpo, yeah, everybody else is shooting well, but Giannis is the number one option, bro.
You said the Bucks are not a good shooting team.
They're not as far as dude. I'm talking about. You talking about 3-point as far as I'm talking about mid-range jump shots. I'm talking about free throw shooting. You know how you want to about statistics. You talking about you had that thing about Lamar Jackson and statistical numbers. That's a perfect example. Nobody can tell me all the statistics are the same or about the same with Mahomes and Jackson. You telling me that you would take Lamar Jackson over Patrick Mahomes? Come on.
That's what I told you. That's what I said next to the thing. I said, this just proves numbers be lying their ass off.
And the numbers lie with the Bucks. You got a lot of they're not as good as shooting ball club as you claim.
Where I think Hammer
good shooting ball club. I mean,
where I think
Hammer. Name two people on the team that can't shoot.
I mean, you talk about I'm trying to think what else who would be. Well, Kainan can shoot. Yeah, I mean, but I'm talking about. That's all that matters. The number one option is the key. The bottom line is that can Giannis shoot? Well, I'll preface it. Giannis can't shoot. Okay, I'll put it that way. And then if Giannis can't shoot, then the Bucks can't shoot because the bottom line is that in crunch time they're gonna go to Giannis. I'll foul Giannis.
Did you want Shaq?
Not Tim Duncan. Don't even disrespect Tim Duncan that way. Tim Duncan's the best power forward ever. So don't disrespect Tim Duncan that way.
See, Hank, we done created a monster over here. Both of them. Let me bring Hank. Hey, y'all, let me bring Hank into this conversation.
So I
he's
got
not
to
being
say
used
this.
right. He's a big
bring Hank into this conversation.
He just said that they weren't a good shooting team, but as Young said, Bobby Portis is leading the league.
Bobby Portis is balling, yeah. But I'm talking about the bottom line.
I really hate it. All he does is power.
The number 5. Giannis is the 5th leading scorer in the league right now.
But I'm talking about shooting.
So you guys, hang on.
Hammer just violate the first rule of being an attorney. Know the answer.
I mean, you can't say they're a poor shooting team. You got 2 players in the top 10 in 3-point shooting and scoring. I mean, so what are they supposed to be doing?
Down the stretch. Giannis Antetokounmpo supposed to be shooting the ball. That's the main thing.
No, he's
your
not.
Number one option is the key.
He's not supposed to shoot threes.
He's not a 3-point
shooter. He can't shoot too, except for dunks. He can't shoot free throws.
What did Shaq do? He had to play.
Man, don't compare him to Shaq, please. Shaq got title. Shaq got wins.
All right. Hey.
Don't compare him to Shaq.
So we know Milwaukee is on the clock.
All
right, let's go. Hank, what else did we learn this?
Okay, what I've learned is that the East, anyway, as a whole, is very weak. Okay. I've learned that when I look at the standings of these two teams, first of all, we've already said Utah is very impressive early in the season. I don't think that that's the team we thought was going to jump out. Also, I see that Phoenix is starting to get hot. But when I look at the East, you have to ask yourself, now we're going to use stats. We got to use the totality of it. Okay, in the East, you got a lot of cream puffs out there outside your top 3 teams. Okay, I mean, and so if you feeding on bottom feeders in the East and you cannibalizing yourself in the West, that doesn't bode very well for you come playoff time. You might get to the finals and just get exposed. And this is what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at as always a very balanced West as been for a while, and a very, very, very weak Eastern Conference. So we got to see how that plays out. And And that lends some credence to Hammer's argument. Okay, because it's like if you're feeding on bottom feeders, yeah, your stats are going to look great. Okay,
Preach.
because yeah, you can have a high 3-point percentage if you got a team that can't defend the perimeter. So we need to see that. So I'll kind of help you. I'll mediate on your behalf on that side, bro.
I got one more thing.
You always got one more thing.
Offense,
What now?
I do. I got to, because as the information shows up, it has to be added into this conversation. The Bucks offense isn't the problem because they scored the second most points.
I said they were scoring. I said scoring, so don't go there. And I'll preface, Giannis Antetokounmpo is what I was talking about. So I will, again, I'll own up when I'm wrong. Again, Giannis Antetokounmpo, your number one option, can't shoot. So as far as I'm concerned, when you talk about playoff time, you talk about when you put the ball in Giannis' hands, the Bucks can't shoot because Giannis is gonna have the ball, right? Bobby Portis ain't gonna have the ball. Pat Connaughton, Pat Connaughton's gonna have the ball. Okay, Brent Ford.
I don't see Milwaukee coming out the East.
All right.
I see them at the first round.
Hold on a second.
We have examples.
I don't see that first round because they don't have anybody.
All right, so we know that Milwaukee is a hot, but I want to get into Hank's argument about the East. I think it's too early to tell, but I think one of the problems why you view the East that way is because Boston.
Yeah.
Boston is not
Boston and Miami
the level they need to play.
Yeah, Boston and Miami, yeah.
You know, and Miami. And I give Miami a little bit because of some of the injuries that came out. And Miami's a team that's got to have all its pieces the right way. But when you look at Boston, they got two stars who are scoring and doing all this stuff. You know, they've had some injuries, but Kemba Walker has just now playing lately, came out the gate slow. But Boston is just not playing with the focus on a regular basis, you know, that they can get and not getting the. And you would think, you know, I know, you know, Brad Stevens is beginning to get some criticism because I think sometimes he escapes criticism of a lot of stuff. But I think Boston not playing well, and also the Raptors are going through a transition, but they're playing, you know, but they're trying to find themselves. So I think second half, some of those teams in the East can find it, but the top three, Milwaukee's got problems in that sense. The problem is fool's gold, and I'll stick with the Milwaukee is because they can play well in the regular season. It's whether or not Giannis will shoot that way in the playoffs. It's not because not will he shoot that, will he take the shots? Like he necessarily doesn't take those shots in the playoffs with the same ease he does in the regular season. And it's not. You're like, well, is it because he can't shoot it? No, he just doesn't shoot it the way he does in the regular season. So his ability, if he's going to play that way, he's got to let it go in the playoffs in the same way he does in the regular season. He just doesn't seem like he takes that shot aggressively. But then when you look at teams like Brooklyn is wiping out them top teams, whether they East, West, North, South. And then the 76ers are no joke. I mean, Doc over there got Embiid playing like somebody stole his last money, just talked about it, got somebody in his family on ransom or something like that. Embiid is abusing. Like, this is an example of a young man paying attention to wisdom. Shaq and them got on him, Barkley and them got on him, and he looked up, he owned up to it. And he is playing like if you get in my way, you will get abused. So them top two teams, I put them up against anybody in the West. So I think the conference thing is a little bit closer, and it's going closer. The anomaly here is the New York Knicks. Like, that's what throws it off. So, Hank, I know when you look over there, I'm like, how is Dolan got a team that's actually fourth? Like, right. Weak. Even though those kids are, I mean, they playing. But it looks weird to have the Knicks at fourth. That right there tells you, somehow you got to say
something wrong. Yeah.
Right? Something wrong. And I looked, I said, why is Hank saying this? Because I don't feel that way. But then when I see the Knicks at fourth, I'm like, maybe he's right. How are they fourth?
Exactly.
That's the problem. And they balling. I mean, they balling old school Knicks style balling.
Because of Tibbs. That's the reason, because they got the best coach in basketball. That's why.
Tibbs.
They got the best coach in basketball. Period. That's why.
As long as he don't run you into the ground and ruin your career. I mean, that's the only thing.
Well, I mean, you can talk about that, but he's the best coach in basketball.
Tibbs is a great coach. He just got to know when to not run you in the ground.
Remind me a lot of the Clippers from a few years ago before Kawhi and Paul George decided to go there, when it was just Pat Bev, Lou Williams, when Tobias Harris was still there, when they was challenging who did they play? They was challenging the Warriors with KD. I think they got. Did they get 1 or 2 games off of them? They might have got 2 games off of them.
They got 2 games, I believe.
Yeah, but they seem like that team from a few years ago where they just had that fight, and if they can add a name or 2, they could be real dangerous.
Well, the team that disappoints, the 2 teams disappoint me in the West, is Grizzlies and the Mavericks. Ja Morant and them, I mean, they play well some nights, but they got no person. And then the Mavericks. You watch them, you trying to figure out how they lose it. Like, I think, they put together
defense,
games, but you got to think about, well, how are they losing? Now, in the last 10,
they're 8 and 2 in the last 10.
They're correcting it. But and Luka's putting up good numbers, but they just disappointed me early on. And then the Grizzlies, I thought, would play better. San Antonio is kind of always in there, but a lot of these teams like Phoenix, they're playing well, but they're not playoff tested. Clippers, only thing they're in that same.
Where's
like OK City back in the day? They're going to be judged by what they do in the playoffs. All this stuff now.
Who's going to be leadership for that?
Yeah, and in Utah, it's like they look good, but are they going to be able to make that deep playoff run?
No, because they're not ready. So
without the home play, so in some ways the West look good. The most impressive team on here is Golden State.
Yes.
The way they're building them, like the way they bringing these young guys along, the way the Pascal, like the way they're building them. When Clay come back and they plug in some things, like I like the way they're mentoring and developing in the way they play. There's some nights where they take it on the chin, but they're nice where they're building that team the right way. To make the playoffs is their championship, right? To get in and play in a playoff series.
They're eighth now.
Really their championship.
But the most disappointing thing I think is the T-Wolves. That's why they fired the coach.
I mean, they're a poorly coached team.
Yeah,
they're a poorly managed team. In my opinion, is like, what's their identity?
They don't have one.
You know what I'm saying?
They need to blow it up. They need to just. I mean, it's not working.
I don't even think Cat gets the ball enough. Like, it's weird watching.
He doesn't. He's a tremendous talent, and he's not getting the ball. So. And also, you should talk about Edwards. He's on and off, but they got to utilize him more. I mean, that highlight dunk is a dunk of the year right now. But just like with that type of athleticism, he should be doing scoring more. He should be producing more. Yeah. So
the team I've been watching with the NBA pass that I really like, and I'm looking forward to them in the second half of the season. I just like watching them. Is Sacramento. Now, they gave up a big loss. They had a win last night, but I like watching that team play in their energy. They're building something. Like, you can see that. You can see the personality of the team being formed around there. They might not get to the playoffs, but this is going to test whether or not they're disciplined enough to stay the course. Like, this is or are they going to pull on the coach? Like, this is one of those programs where it's like Atlanta making a move on Pierce. Like, sometimes you got to be disciplined enough to stay the course. He was building something. Can you stay? And I think that's going to be Sacramento's big challenge, because I love watching those youngins play. It's like, man, they get after. They got some great announcers too. Watching Doug Christie, they'll have you cracking up over there. You get a chance to listen to them. But they got good energy. And if they can make a run towards the playoffs, like just, make a run down the stretch, might not get there. That's a good development for them. As y'all looking at the second half of the season, what kind of trends are y'all looking for? Like, is there something you're looking for that you hope a team will do in the second half?
I think Portland's got to step it up. I really do. I think
Portland's
got to step it up.
Yeah,
I think Portland's gonna step it up. I think Dame's gonna really bring it, and other trend that Lakers are gonna start going down. I think that AD is his Achilles injury is really severe, and I think they should shut him down. I think he's too young to mess with that type of injury. He'll mess around and have a DeMarcus Cousins situation where he tears his Achilles, or Kevin Durant, something like that. So I would shut AD down. He's been injury prone as it is, but I wouldn't risk his career. He's in bad shape right now. So
yeah, I mean that's something we got to watch closely. And I don't think they don't use Harrell correctly.
They don't know how to yet. I mean,
they don't know how to use him, and I think that's part of the challenge with LeBron holding the ball the way he holds it. But even with the second unit, they don't. I mean, Harrell's not. I haven't even fantasy, but they just don't use. They're not maximizing his ability and letting him just run to the front of the rim and just let him be your Rodman. Be that energizer type guy. They just not letting him go, and they're containing him in ways they're going to have to do it right if they're going to try and manage
inspire Frank Vogel. They want to inspire Frank Vogel. They didn't win because of Frank Vogel. So, Frank, I'm just not impressed with Frank Vogel as a coach. I mean, I
love Frank now. I'm not going to be too critical of him now. I like Frank did an excellent job last year. Now I'm going to let you talk about my man Frank.
I wish they hired Ty Lue like they should have. And I think I would be much more confident.
I mean, even with injuries, they 24-11. Frank doing a good job. I think that's the thing.
They got LeBron. So, I mean, they got LeBron. So,
yeah, but it's also how he uses the second unit.
So they got LeBron.
How they play, developing players. It's not just LeBron. LeBron's had some off nights.
I know, but again,
Schroeder. Go on, youngin. What you gonna say?
Schroeder's hurt. Yeah. So
Darnell, I see you leaning in there.
I think they made a mistake when they brought in Harrell and Gasol because they don't play they don't work off of LeBron as well as Dwight and JaVale McGee did, because with LeBron's playmaking ability, he makes them better than they really are, because they're missing that vertical lob threat without AD. When AD's hurt, they don't have the guy that can go through where they're doing a pick and roll, and now LeBron can just throw the lob, and if you don't respect it, he can just shoot the jumper, but they don't have it anymore, and I think that's why they picked up Damian Jones, something like that.
Yeah, they're Damian Jones. That's a good pickup. They need some beef, and that tells you how hurt AD is. The fact they picked up Damian Jones, that's indicative. They know that AD is they need to shut him down. Yeah, so
they need JaVale McGee back. I think that's what I think. Well, but
they let him go. So I mean, they might.
They should have kept one of them. They should have kept. You're right. They should have kept one of them. Over there.
Should have kept Dwight Howard. Really, should have kept Dwight Howard.
I think once they get McCallum back in Portland and get some balance, those cats are playing. I think once they get McCallum back, I think Portland, their problem is some of their frontline guys haven't been staying healthy over these years, where they could take advantage of them going down. You didn't talk about your Bulls, man. Like your boys doing some work.
I mean, again, I'm very. I mean, you were talking about. I was just talking about one team. Yeah. I mean, I'm impressed with the Knicks more, but the Bulls. Donovan's really impressed me, but I'll be bummed with them too. I'm so sick of them not playing defense. It just makes. I mean, when I see them play, I just hate this modern day basketball with no defense. Yeah, and B killed us. Yeah, and because they're going small ball with, marketing's out. But yeah, I mean they're going 3 guard right now. But yeah, I'm happy with the Bulls. Don't get me wrong. I was stunned at the Donovan hire. I was stunned he went to come to Chicago, and then he's done a great job, like he did with OKC last year, making lemonade out of lemons basically. So, but yeah, I mean I'm happy with the Bulls. Don't get me wrong. But you were talking about one team. I wish Tibbs was still with the Bulls. I'll put it that way. Tibbs is my guy. So, I mean, he's my guy, and, everyone's going to blame for D-Rose. D-Rose, he was going to blow out anyway. I mean, that's life. So
the way he was playing, I mean, his size.
Yeah, he was playing. His body type. He was playing with his body type. His body wasn't going to last anyway. So to blame Tibbs on that was some BS and try to fire him because of that and bring in Hoiberg. But I'm glad Tibbs is getting, but yeah, I'm glad for the Bulls too. I'm glad they got rid of Garpax. That All-Star game last year was great for us because when they called out Garpax on national TV to get them canned, that was the beginning of the end, basically. It was embarrassing to have Bulls basketball such a nadir last year during the All-Star weekend, and the Grindstore family finally said, we gotta clean the house, and they did. AK's doing a job, and the brother's doing a job, and Dom's doing a job. Yeah, but they got to play with better defense. So
the team that impressed me, I told you I watched Sacramento. Charlotte Hornets. Jordan stumbled into something. I like watching them cats play. That Charlotte team is
PJ balling.
Washington is going off, and
Terry Rozier
balling. Yeah,
oh my goodness! I'm gonna start calling him the body snatch.
look like Charlotte got the better of that sign and trade that deal right now. So Rozier playing better than Kemba right now. So yeah.
And Monk is coming around. I like that team and the way it's built. I'm like, is Mitch Kupchak down there working with him?
Yeah, I think Mike got him. Mike always got his Carolina boys who were failures some gigs, But Mike take it.
I like Kupchak. Kupchak knows how to build a team. Get somebody in the front office who can make he makes some decisions. Whatever they're doing is working. Kupchak got doing it.
Yeah,
they look like they got a plan. Like you watch some kids play, they got a good coach and they got a strategy. Now I'm bringing Hank in here because he looked like he watching them play. What's going on with the Pistons?
Nothing.
What's the plan over there?
Look, that's when they talked about what the Pistons tried to do in the offseason, a lot of analysts said that they looked like they was just throwing crap at the wall to see that what would stick. And now it kind of looks that way. They've only won 9 games in this first half. They've been trying to deal Blake Griffin.
Good luck with that. They can buy him out.
They've got a couple of really, really nice players. The one young fella, what's his last name? Dumboya, thank you.
Yeah,
he's nice. And they're going the right direction. I like Casey as the coach, but they've got a ways to go. If you watch the Pistons, sometimes they play with a lot of energy. They just it's just hard to watch. They
9-25. What are you talking?
Yeah, that's why I said they're hard to watch. That's right, exactly. Right now.
How you saying Don? I mean, I like Don Casey too, but Don's been an abysmal failure there. So.
Well, I don't know if it's him or if it's the team he's with. The Pistons finally got they finally got a GM, in this offseason. So it's going to take some time. I mean, what was going on over here was just a dumpster fire. So it's not
because really it's clear. When the Pistons have been good, it's because
they play solid defense.
Have a personality. It's about they defend and they get those guys who are grimy. They reflect the city's attitude, right? And when I watch them, I'm like, that don't look like a Detroit team. Meaning, ain't nobody here representing the D. Y'all look like y'all from Mobile right now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whatever to say, but it ain't Detroit, right? It's like, one thing I said about it, I remember years ago I was arguing and debating with Game Changer when they had that star-studded Laker team coming in with Malone and all those cats. And, I was arguing during his bachelor party. We were up just sitting there at one of those establishments up in Madison, just having and talking, debate with him and one of my other good friends, Cece Youngblood, who's been on the air. And I said, I'm going to say, look, when you go to Detroit, that's a different kind of crowd. It's a different atmosphere. You ain't just going to play the team, you're going to play the city.
That's right.
Never forgetting game 1 where they panning out and they're showing Malone like he about getting fight with somebody in the stands. And I said, that's Detroit. Like, you ain't just coming to play the Pistons. You ain't coming to play Rasheed Wallace. You're going to play Joe Blow, who just got off from the
plant.
And who was sitting on the front row, figure out how to save his money, and he gonna let you know something too. And I just don't feel that when I watch them. I'm like, man, I love Casey, but I'm about to get a shirt. I'm gonna be on a hire Bill Lambier or Chauncey Billups. I'm like, bring somebody back who understands what Detroit
basketball.
Yeah, so
you're absolutely right there. I mean, because you're looking for something. You see that they've got some nice pieces, but you don't know. And like I said, I endorsed the Dwayne Casey hire, but this team, I don't like. you know me, I'm a big fella. I don't like finesse basketball.
Yeah.
You know, I like physical basketball.
Me too.
You know, I grew up watching physical basketball. So I can't stand that. It drives me nuts. So it got a ways to go, you know. And then first of all, you know, I'm gonna do the old hammer deflection a little bit. You know, sports around here ain't been much to watch anywhere in all 4 sports. You know, so the Pistons and the Red Wings are really a non-starter. Then you got the Tigers is playing for draft picks, and I don't know what the Lions is doing. So, you know, when you ask me what's going on with the Pistons, your guess is as good as mine. I'd rather stand out in front of the drugstore and watch folks leave, because it's, you know, it's sometimes that's more exciting than watching some of these sports teams right now.
Well, Tigers might win this year because they don't cheat. They're gonna cheat, so they'll be banging on.
AJ hits. Look,
they'll be banging on drums. They'll be cheating. So yeah, they might do. And
you gotta have players to be able to cheat, bro. You can't look here. You can bang on drums. If you know the curveball is coming and you still can't hit it, what's the point? Okay. What's the point? Okay, I can look at. I can set it up on the tee for you. If you still go swing and miss, it don't matter.
I got a feeling my Stanford brother gonna come up with the analytics, aka cheating. My Stanford brother AJ Hinch and get y'all, because Gardenhire. I'm like when I saw him, I'm like, y'all hired who?
Listen, that lets you know. Okay, it's like that, and that's the way it is.
I'm almost gonna wrap it up here. One of the things we all talk about, and I'm gonna go around to each one of y'all. One of the things we try to defend against, y'all hear me talk about, is this thing called Fool's Gold. Now, there's a lot of cats looking good, whether it's players or teams. If you were looking at a team or a player, who would you say that's Fool's Gold? You about to take your money out of that investment. That ain't gonna continue to go at this level. Who's Fool's Gold? I'm a because I got a feeling he might say something funny. He's
Giannis. Yeah, Giannis, definitely.
He said Giannis.
Definitely. And I'm glad the brother signed that contract, because that's the last big deal he's gonna get. So God bless him. That Supermax, he didn't even flinch. Come on, is Giannis gonna sign the contract? Yeah, he is, because it'll be his last big deal. Sure. Lucy loses that athleticism, he don't be that good of a player. So yeah, Giannis. Let's go. You know, I would trade Giannis. I would trade Giannis for the whole store and just rebuild the Bucks.
I should have ended with you, but okay, I'll go. I'm gonna go to Young and then we'll go to Hank.
I haven't really thought about this one. You said, who is Fool's Gold?
Who's Fool's Gold? A team that's looking good, hot now, or a player who you think on this second half they're gonna run out of gas? Player or team? Who you think is Fool's Gold?
I hate to do this. I hate this kind of game, but I gotta say Dallas because they're coming up now. They feel like they're figuring it out, but I don't trust Porzingis in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't trust him. Period.
And then without Porzingis, Luka's not gonna be able to get it done by himself. He needs that second guy. The Clippers. Never mind. Stop. Never mind. The Clippers are definitely the Fool's Gold team. They have no leadership. They have no point guard. They finally got themselves a big man in the Ibaka, but it's not going to happen for them in the playoffs. That's my number one Fool's Gold team.
Yeah, that's my thing. I was going to say two things was the Clippers. I just think everybody gonna start jumping on that bandwagon. Good reason. They'll finish around third or whatever.
They're gonna jump on the bandwagon because
when I watch them,
that's not true.
When I watch them, the problem they got is, and it's broken out of it. The problem they got is because they don't have a point guard. Both Kawhi and PG can't just do what they do. They got to also make sure people eat. Having a good point guard. Now, if they get a point guard, a legitimate point guard some here in the season that allows them to really get in their natural. So if they pass off the natural move, that's good. But I think they're taking on too much responsibility with running the offense versus just focusing on scoring.
And you dissing my homeboy.
PG got going on. They're gonna have a struggle.
You dissing my homeboy then.
They need Lonzo.
P. Bev is okay. I mean, they need to upgrade. Of course, he's a good defender.
He's not a point guard. Well, he is.
He's a point guard. He's just not a good shooter. He's not the scoring point guard, y'all.
It has nothing to do with shooting. It has nothing to do with shooting.
It's about getting you in the offense and getting the ball in the right place. A legitimate point guard.
They need a facilitator.
Yeah.
They need Chris Paul. They don't need no Paul back. But I don't see how they're gonna make a trade.
Yeah, I mean that's why I say it's fool's gold because they're gonna look good. They're gonna be think about the playoffs. You can beat a lot of teams, and teams like Clippers can overpower you because you're coming off playing Portland, and then you got to come back and play them on a you play Portland on Wednesday night. You got to fly into LA. You got to play them, and they're gonna kill you. I mean, this is about their team, and they got 94 feet and all that stuff look good. I just think that when it's all said and done, not be able to execute against some of these top teams that can defend, and they in your head. I can't wait to see the Clippers in the Portland have they face off. It's gonna be epic. So that's a team. But we'll go to Hank. Hank, fool's gold.
You know what? The easy one is for me is the Knicks. Okay. Yeah. We just got through talking about that. The number 4 in the East, I don't buy it. I ain't buying that car. Okay. That's you got to write the lemon law on that one. I don't trust it. The other one though, I'm gonna go a little different. I'm gonna say the Brooklyn Nets. And one reason alone, James Harden. Okay, and how that works out. I
think James showing how it's gonna work out.
Fine.
I have nothing.
He's the lightest he's been in his career. What are you talking
about? Right now. Okay.
Yeah, he's the lightest he's been in his career. He's accepted to being point guard.
I thought you were gonna say Kyrie. I thought you were gonna say Kyrie.
But that team is. I don't trust Steve Nash as being a rookie coach. That's the only suspect I think. But the Brooklyn Nets are coming out of the East.
I think their inability to protect the rim and rebound will hurt.
They're gonna get watched. Just like Damian Jones signed with the Lakers. Yep. They're gonna get a rim protector.
They gotta get something like that.
Trade deadline or a buyout.
Because if they turn into that, if he turns into that shoot and launch, James Harden.
They need someone like Robin Lopez. Before.
Yeah,
like Robin Lopez.
Like a Robin Lopez. I'm with you. They get a Robin Lopez.
They get a Robin Lopez. I mean, he's on the Wizards right now. They get a Robin Lopez. They get a rim protector. They're gonna get a rim protector. Trust me. Yeah. There's too much. They're trying to win now. I mean, you don't make the type of trade they made. You're trying to win right now.
My whole thing when you said that, Hank, I thought you were gonna say Kyrie because he's the one.
Well, him too.
That is the most volatile. I think James is in his role and he in his mix, and he's the James Harden you're gonna see for the rest of the season. I think James along KD gonna be in the mix. Is Kyrie, is he gonna stay like he's staying? That's the one I thought
because
I think Harden is doing his thing.
Because Darnell talked about he's playing with Darnell. Darnell broke it down. He said that Kyrie was going to be the shooting guard. Didn't Darnell say that? Give Darnell.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. That's what
everybody knows their role right now. City. But the one role they don't know is the rim protector because DeAndre Jordan is raggedy. So they need somebody that can be a true rim protector. He is. He's raggedy. They need a true rim protector, and Lopez will be good. I mean, you talk about somebody like JaVale McGee be good. They don't get him a rim protector, trust me, because you don't make a deal like that.
But my thing with Kyrie is not just being a two guard, but taking no purpose shots. Hank, you understand where I'm going with this?
Right.
His jump shots in these really tight.
He's going to get
into an ego mix. Mode. You know what I'm saying? He gets into an ego mix in the playoffs in the series. He played against Miami and they in his grill, Butler in his grill, and he taking no purpose shots, breaking away from the offense. That's the part I'm thinking of.
KD will stop that mess. KD will stop that mess.
Ain't nobody stopping Kyrie right now.
They got his butt to come back after
KD not that cat. The only guy who's been able to do that is LeBron.
Didn't he? He came back. Everyone's talking about Kyrie's going to retire and Kyrie's going to become a ambassador for the world. Kyrie came back and played basketball. And
Kyrie has some other stuff he wanted to do. I knew that.
Kyrie came back when James Harden got there. That's what he wanted to do.
And precisely. And so that's why Kyrie ain't going to cut up. Now, this is a chance for him to shine now without LeBron, and he's going to do it. I truly believe it. I think they might win a chip this year. I think they might.
I think people forget 7-game series, that people build a lot off of these regular seasons. It's the reason why the Sonics struggle so much. Whatever, things look good in the regular season. Playoff basketball is different. The way they play, the physical play, the things that you can do. Some of that stuff you can't get away with. That you can get away.
And you have a tendency to revert what you are.
Well, people now they got enough film on you, right? They can see that, and you got some teams in the East that's some matchup nightmares for them, especially on the defensive side. Got linked.
Philadelphia. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
don't trust Doc. The thing is, Doc will lose it for him. So don't worry about. I don't worry about Philly. So
I'll say
Doc will lose it for him. Doc barely won the one championship with the Boston Celtics. He should have won more than that. So you have a Doc.
Question mark to me is Embiid going to average 45 against them? Can they hold him to 30? That's their question.
That's the question.
If they can hold him to 30, they can win. That's
because he can control the tempo of the game because you can't stop him. Like he can control the tempo to the game because you can't stop him. And
they ain't the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls gave up 50 on them. They ain't the Bulls, man. They ain't. They're the Bulls. Wow.
You don't have to.
All right. So Hank done created a little fire here in Brooklyn. We're gonna monitor that. All right. It's been a great show. Y'all brought the energy to it. Y'all had me cracking up. Brought the stats. You know, we saw Hammer did the wrong thing that he knows that attorneys are supposed to always know. Is they got to know the answer before they raise the question. And then Youngin came back with the information. But see, Hammer ain't gonna be like that next time. He'll be ready. You know, he figured that out.
I meant to say Giannis couldn't shoot, so yeah. I meant to say
that. And now we're gonna have bodyguards for him when he goes to Milwaukee because he got all kinds of friends and
I got people that will tell you no. People gonna look at this, they gonna think I'm too soft in Milwaukee. They want Bud fired right now. Do you understand? They want Bud. They want Darvin Ham coaching right now. They want Bud. They want Bud out. I'm telling you. Cats are cutting up. Even when they win, they're like, they didn't win big enough. You understand these fans here? They're like Packer fans, dude. Like with J.J. Watt. How dare J.J. Watt sign with the Arizona Cardinals over the Packers? Because he got $23 guaranteed $1 million. That's why, y'all.
And it's 80 degrees out there.
Yeah,
I said, I know why he signed up out there. JJ, now
I would take more money from Cleveland and in Indy. I'm sorry.
He saw your boy's place in that damn draft, and he's like, I want one of those. When he signed, he was like, and I want to stay in one of those.
He can get 2 or 3 of those.
Everybody was talking about that layout. They're like, that's what you get?
Oh, Kingsbury's living large. I mean, that dude.
Yeah, he said, not only do I sign this, but y'all got to put me in one of those.
White boys fail forward. Look at it. I mean, I'm like, he went from Lubbock, Texas, a little shack in Lubbock, to like the great palatial estate, the idyllic, white royal estate. I mean, you saw it's like you were so beautiful. I looked at that, I was like, go ahead, my man. You were the biggest con man I know. You couldn't even coach in Lubbock, and you come in the NFL, and you got the best crib. I'm just like alone there. You don't know who was in the background. They couldn't show that. I mean, my man probably had something in the background they couldn't show, but my man had the crib. I was like, man, you're the biggest con man I know, man. You went from USC OC to NFL coach after getting fired at Texas Tech as the guru because of Patrick Mahomes. I hope he gives Patrick Mahomes about 25% of his salary. Because he owes Patrick Mahomes a lot.
All right, y'all. We go. This has been a great show, and we got to do before we put it out. We got to bring my man Hank into the picture. Let me do this right. We got to put him in.
Don't mute me now.
Focus, and so we can drop the mic.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. We had a lot of fun tonight. We always do. But I want to say this: we've just crossed over into March. Okay. And I just kind of want to remind everybody that we're coming up on about a year's time when last year, this time, we shut everything down. You guys remember that? We was walking around, it was ghost towns all over the country. Unreal, surreal, things we had never seen or thought about ever in our lives, that we ever lived through ever in our lives. So I want to make a plea out there, okay? I heard today that the governor of Texas has chosen to eliminate all mandatory mask wearing. He's going to open up everything in the state to 100%. He wrote an executive order for the state of Texas. While we're in the midst of this pandemic and while we're still trying to get all of these vaccines out, I want to make a passionate plea to the governor of Texas and all the other legislatures out there. I want to go to a game this year. I want to go and watch the Tigers play at Comerica Park. I want to go to a full restaurant and eat a steak with my buddies. I want to go watch Michigan play football this week, this year. I want to go to the stadium. I want the stadium to be full. I want to hear the Victors play. Just like the rest of now, this is where I'm at. I'm sure where Hammer's at, he want to go out to Wrigley Field. You know, I'm pretty sure they want to go to Badger Stadium at some point. Camp Randall. Okay. I'm pretty sure Youngin wants to go out there and have the stands full when he's coaching at Lincoln. Listen, I want to watch. I want to play. I want to get back to real life. But what you're doing is you're retarding that. What you're doing is you're making that crazy for some reason and putting people's lives at stake. Listen, pay close attention to what we've gone through. Remember your history or you're doomed to repeat it. I want to go to a game this year. Peace.